I'm excited about this video because I really want to give you all the tools you need if you're thinking about buying a home, because the first thing we need to figure out is how much it'll cost us, because if we don't know that, then we won't be able to buy our first home. So if you're a first-time home buyer interested in buying, I'm going to give you an example in this video that's a $500,000 home and all the costs that's involved in the process of buying, so that way you're familiar with what to encounter before you even take the step and contact an agent or contact a mortgage lender. At least you can have the information you need. That way you can decide what's best for you. First off, before I even begin the video, I want to let you know the first thing you need to do is mindset. And you're already doing that by watching a video to learn more about what it costs to buy a home. So you're already on the right path of home ownership. But it really is a different mindset to say, I know this is my goal. I know I can achieve it. This is my plan of how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to execute to get that done. So I just want you to know it is not an easy road. It's not an easy process. The first home you find might not be the home you get. The first offer you give might not be the home that you actually move into. So it is a long journey and a long process, but that's a whole separate video. But I want you to know you're already on the right path by watching videos to figure out how much it costs to obtain a home and achieve home ownership, which is an amazing achievement that so many people say they're going to do and actually never commit to doing it. So the first cost is down payment. We all hear down payment, 3.5%, and that's just pretty much a blanket statement. So if you have a $500,000 home, 3.5% is 17,500. So for this example, we're gonna say that's about $20,000. So that should be your first mark of I'm gonna save up and I'm gonna get to $20,000. And when I get there, I have my down payment for my home that I'm going to own. The second cost we want to look at is closing. So you have the money to down pay in a home. You should probably save up a little bit more because there's unexpected expenses, as we're going to talk about. But closing costs is usually 2 to 3% of that home. So you're looking about on a $500,000 home about 10,000 to 15,000. The beauty of closing costs, though, it doesn't all have to come from you. If you're buying a home, that's where your agent comes into play, that I can negotiate where the seller is given money towards the closing costs on your behalf. But it just depends on the market, of course, the home, the location, a lot of different factors. But it's pretty, I won't want to say standard, but I would say it's negotiable to where we can find a home and say, we have the $20,000 down, but we want the seller to pay half the closing costs or all of the closing costs. So that is an option that you have out there. But for this example, you're going to have the 20K for the down payment, 10K at least for closing costs. That way you're making sure you're covered. And then you have those two things. Those are your two biggest expenses you need to have. The third thing is earnest money deposit. So you're going to see EMD, or somebody's going to say EMD. You're not sure what that is. All the earnest money deposit is saying to the seller, I'm committing to this home. So you found the home you wanted, you're in contract. Within the first 24 hours, if you agreed on that home, you're excited, you have to put down money, and you have to put money where your mouth is. You have to put down your EMD. So that is typically 1%, and that's about $5,000. And once again, this is something that can be negotiated. If you don't want to put the $5,000 down on the home, we can write in contract and put 2,000, 3,000, whatever the number may be. But it really doesn't matter if that's the home you wanted and you put in an offer for it and the contract is accepted. What happens is the EMD in the earnest money deposit is subtracted from your closing costs. So let's say closing cost is 10,000, as we mentioned. If you put $5,000 down for your earnest money deposit, when you're in escrow, I'll explain that to you in another video. But basically, the process of your home closing, once your home closes, you don't have to put the 10,000 because you already put $5,000 down when your offer was accepted. So I hope that makes sense to you. You're not like putting it down twice. You're putting $5,000 down when you initially get your offer accepted, to you showing the seller that you're serious about buying that home. And then when on closing day, if you didn't put the whole closing cost, let's say you'll put the other $5,000 down. So I hope that makes sense. You have down payment, closing, EMD, your earnest money deposit. And the fourth thing you have is inspections. People don't account for inspections, but they're honestly non-negotiable in my eyes, because you're making this large purchase that we're using an example, $500,000, even $300,000, $400,000, doesn't matter. It's such a large purchase. You should have a home and a pest inspection completed, and that is typically can be $400 to $600, but it's worth it in the end, because now you're verifying that this home is up to date. You can figure out any repairs that needs to get done, and that's all part of the closing process, where you can negotiate with the seller to say, hey, these things came up in the pest inspection, these things came up in the home inspection. Can you fix that before I obtain this home, before I purchase this home? Or if you're not going to do that, this is how much it costs to complete that repair. I need you to either take it off the purchase price or credit me more money, so when I move into the home, I have the ability to fix whatever it is you didn't do. So all these things are negotiable, but you want to have the money to be able to take care of inspections, because why would you not inspect something you're going to spend all that money on? Okay. The fifth thing you have is appraisal. Appraisal is simply saying, let's say you purchased that home for $500,000, but you're going to have someone go out and say, yes, homes in this area and neighborhood and location, and based on the size and this kitchen and living room and everything that involves this home is valued at $500,000. They can say $520,000, $540,000, just depends on the appraiser. They can come under, but if they come under, that's a whole separate scenario that the realtor will walk you through. I'll walk you what would happen if they came under. But generally, appraisals are about $500,000. Sorry, $500. And with it being $500, that's something you don't even have to put out. I'm just telling you about costs that come up, because you can take the $500 and put it into your closing, and that can be wrapped into your loan where that's taken care of. So there is ways around that, but I just want to get you familiar with it. And then the sixth cost, the cost that people really don't see, and it's averages based on your family and your scenario. So take into account what I'm saying and understand your scenario, is moving costs. Once you purchase this home, you have to move in there. So are you local? Are you going to get a U-Haul? Are you going to get a moving company? What's the size of your family? All these things you should take into account. So we can say about $3,000 to $4,000, even $3,000 to $5,000 just for moving expenses. You're probably going to want to upgrade furniture, all these things to think of once you move into a home. So make sure you're writing a list of things I want to do as soon as I move into the home, and come up with a plan that within the first 90 days, I want these things. Within the first year, I want upgrade this. Within the first 3 years, I want to do XYZ, a pool, a jacuzzi, whatever it is it may be. So that way you have a set plan and understanding of what you're getting yourself into. So that is why I made this video. I really want to help first-time homeowners see that it's so possible to obtain home ownership, but it starts with a plan. So let's go over the expenses really quick, and that way you have a sum total of what it costs to be a homeowner. The first thing, down payment, we said $17,500. Let's just round it up to $20,000. Second thing, closing costs, 2 to 3%. We said $10,000, so that puts us at $30,000. Earnest money deposit, which is 1%, is $5,000. We're not going to add that in, as I mentioned, because that's rolled into the closing costs. So we're still at $30,000 as we're talking about it. Inspections, $500. So we're at $30,500. Appraisals, $500. Let's account for that. So we're at $31,000. And then moving expenses, about $3,000 to $4,000. Let's just say it's $4,000 on the higher end. That puts us about $35,000. So if you're looking to obtain home ownership on a $500,000 home, you need at least $35,000 to be safe. I would say that should be your goal. That should be a ceiling. You should aim for higher than that. But it's so possible. You can get so much assistance and programs and down payments and so many ways to do it. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it starts with your mindset and your mind frame. When you decide you want to be a homeowner, that's when you'll become one. Until then, you'll just be looking on the market and waiting for interest rates and watching other people achieve what it is that you want. So I hope that you find this video helpful and you're able to say, I'm going after my goal. I'm going to save this much a month, and I might not be able to buy it this year, but I will be able to buy it next year. Or, man, I actually am ready to buy. I didn't realize I have 40,000 in the bank, and I've been wanting to be a homeowner for so long. So if that's you and you live in Sacramento, Roseville, Rockland, Stockton, in Northern California, please reach out to myself. My name is Delmar Wood, and I appreciate you watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful, and I hope that one day you become a homeowner and continue to achieve all the dreams that it is that you want, because it's all about your mindset, your mind frame. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a blessed day. Thank you.